tripartite majority, a runoff election. So the one vote added to the 50% is what will tilt the scales. In other words, he or she who obtains 50% of the total number of votes cast plus one vote will be the winner. The proportional representation system is applied to 60 members of the upper house of parliament, that is the Senate, 60 members of the National Assembly, all of whom must be women, and for the provincial councils in the 8 non-metropolitan provinces. To qualify, a party must have filled in party nomination lists during the nomination court process. So if a party did not file its party list nomination forms for all the elections under the proportional representation system, then it will not be eligible to be allocated seats. The Electoral Act itself provides a formula for allocating the seats to eligible parties under this system. The first past the post system is used for elections in the lower house of parliament, that is the National Assembly, and for local authority elections. Under this system, the country is divided into 210 electoral constituencies and 1,958 wards, each of which is represented by a candidate. The candidate who obtains the highest number of votes is declared the winner. The winner in each constituency is the candidate who receives a minimum of one vote more than the other candidates. Our constituency and ward boundaries for the 2018 harmonised elections are based on the 2008 delimitation report. This is so because the Commission did not conduct boundary delimitation. In terms of the Constitution, delimitation can only be done every 10 years after a population census. So our next census is expected in 2022, and according to the Constitution, a delimitation exercise will be conducted soon thereafter, and this will be in time for the 2023 harmonised elections. It is pertinent to note, however, that due to voter migration and establishment of new settlements, the voter population now exceeds the constitutional threshold in some of the constituencies. In terms of sections 322 and 325 of the Constitution, it is the primary responsibility of the government of Zimbabwe to ensure that sufficient funds are provided for the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. The Commission was allocated 95.9 million out of a bid of 178 million budget for the 2018 harmonised elections. To date, over 70% of these funds have been released into the Commission's account. Treasury has already committed in writing to avail the balance of these funds before the election day. The releases, we would like to note, were on time and there was no prejudice to the preparations for the plebiscite. The support from the government was also complemented by cooperating partners such as UNDP, ASA and IFES in areas such as voter education, communication training and data center upgrade. The African Union also played a key role in further facilitating the training of election officials. In line with the principles of transparency and inclusivity, the Commission has been holding stakeholder engagements to inform the electorate of developments at every stage of the electoral process, and these are expected to continue before, during and after the elections. The stakeholders include political parties, civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, Chapter 12 commissions, the police and the media. The Commission has held 29 stakeholder engagements since the commencement of the BBR exercise in September last year. Besides being informative, these engagements also act as a trust-building forum. In the spirit of transparency and stakeholder engagement, the Commission recently invited stakeholders, including representatives of political parties, contested presidential elections, local, foreign observers, embassies, as well as civil society and faith-based organizations to witness ballot paper printing at Fidelity Printers. While there is no legal obligation which compels the Commission to invite stakeholders to the printing process, the Commission saw it fit to allow stakeholders to witness the process in order to dispel unfounded and misleading myths. However, the Commission would be the first to admit that its overtures did not yield the intended results, as some stakeholders insist on outrageous, unlawful, and unreasonable demands, thereby scuttling a good process for consensus building. This election is an election of firsts, in that it is the first election in which the country used biometric technology to come up with a new voters' roll, and it is also the first election in which the polling station-based voting will be implemented. All of these were implemented with a view to addressing stakeholder concerns and to improve election administration in our country in line with international best practice and recommendations made by some observer groups in 2013. The Commission officially launched the biometric voter registration exercise on the 14th of September 2017, and 15 January 2018 was the last day on which applications were to be received. A total of 2,600 BVR kits were procured by the Commission for the purpose. The BVR exercise was launched in the country's 63 district centres on the 18th of September 2017. The BVR blitz was conducted in 4 phases over a period of 72 days, with each kit spending 16 days at the established registration centres. During the blitz, the registration centres were open between 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day of the week, including weekends and public holidays. The Commission also conducted a voter registration mock-up exercise between the 10th of January and the 8th of February 2018 to cater for those who had missed registration owing to lack of synchronization between the Registrar General's Office exercise of issuing identity cards and other documents required for registration and our registration blitz. We are also cognizant of the fact that there had been another category of people who had been left out of the registration process, these people who had previously been classified as aliens. These people were granted an equal opportunity to register through the intervention of the court. There are tables of statistics which form part of this presentation, which will be available to you. I don't intend to go through the tables of statistics, but we have desegregated the data into provinces, male or females, and total number of registered voters per province. The national total is 5,695,706 total number of registered voters. The inspection of what we termed a provisional voters' roll started on 19 May 2018 and ended on 29 May 2018. We published all 10,807 inspection centres and 2,000 As of 29 May 2018, 4 p.m., a total number of 916,001 people have used this facility to check their registration details. This is over and above the 1,917,691 people who physically visited the inspection centres and checked the voters' rolls, the hard copies of the voters' rolls. In addition, the Commission sent out 3,256,440 bulk SMSs with registration details to registrants who supplied their mobile numbers upon registration. A total of 206,225 new registrants were recorded during the inspection exercise. In addition, registrants also used the link bvrinspection.zeg.org.zw their workplaces and in the comfort of their homes. It should be noted that the voter registration is ward or constituency. This is a very important difference which has come into play for the first time in 2018. The Commission gazetted the new voters' roll in terms of the electoral law on 29 May 2018. This meant that the country now had a voters' roll from which continuous voter registration could be made. The total registered voter population as at 1 June 2018, which was the cut-off point for registration for 2018 election, is the final voters' roll, which, after deduplication and adjudication processes, has now resulted in our total number of registered voters of 5,695,706. This total excludes 92,745 registrants who will be on the exclusion list for various reasons, such as those who have invalid ID numbers, Those who have invalid ID numbers are a total of 11,767. Those who share same ID numbers but with different details who are still to be confirmed by the Registrar General's Office as the true holders of certain IDs, we have 510 of those. Those who share the same ID and details but are two different people who are still to be confirmed by the Registrar General's Office to be true holders, we have 1,157 of those. Those who were confirmed to be not at all in the Registrar General's Register constitute 25 people in total. These were excluded. We had a total number of 8,146 people who had since died between the time when we started compiling the new voters list and the time when we produced the final voters roll. We had duplicates arising from transfers in a total amount of 39,892. We had duplicates arising from double registrations in a total number of 31,248. The registrants whose names do not appear on the 2018 voters roll were excluded, but however, that is not necessarily fatal. We've sent them back to the relevant authority, which has a constitutional mandate to register ID numbers, and once those anomalies are corrected, those registrants are at liberty to re-register and appear on the 2023 voters roll. Copies of the electronic voters rolls are being provided and have been provided to candidates and stakeholders upon request. Over 332 voters rolls have been purchased from our head office. 1,458 constituency rolls and 7,075 ward rolls have been dispatched to provinces for distribution to candidates. Generation of the polling station voters rolls in PDF format was completed and submitted to printers for printing. Printing is now completed for all provinces, with proofreading and quality checks currently taking place. With regards to electoral reforms, some reforms were undertaken which aligned the electoral law to the new constitution. The highlights of some of the amendments, there are quite a few, so I'll only zero in on one or two. Section 5 of the Electoral Amendment Act ensures the Electoral Act now provides that the Commission should advocate for regulations to ensure that women have fair opportunities to campaign and register to vote and are protected from election-related violence. The Commission must now also provide adequate, accurate, gender-sensitive and unbiased voter education. One of the other amendments which I would like to highlight is that Section 22A now allows the Commission to establish more polling stations for an area that has a large voter population, and this is designed to speed up polling on voting day. I hasten to add that we've not been given authority to create new polling stations. What we have been authorized to do is to create sub-polling stations within our existing polling stations. I'm trying to wade through quite a number of amendments. Section 52A was amended so as to provide that the number of ballot papers printed for any elections should not exceed more than 10% of the number of registered voters eligible to vote in the election. The Code of Conduct of Political Parties and Candidates has been broadened to include that of other stakeholders like CSOs, civil servants, traditional leaders, and members of security who should assist in ensuring compliance of the code by political parties and candidates. The code also introduces the issue of setting up multi-party liaison committees at least 12 months prior to the expected date of the elections, as opposed to the previous provisions where these committees were established after the sitting of the nomination court. In terms of accreditation of observers, we've included a table where we've done a breakdown of the accreditation of observers. We've accredited 523 local observers, 247 local journalists, 168 foreign observers, 29 foreign journalists, bringing us to a total of 967. His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Honorable Emmerson Mnangagwa, issued out a proclamation for the 2018 harmonized elections in terms of Section 144 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe through statutory instrument 85 of 2018 and fixed Monday, 30 of July 2018 as the day on which a poll shall be taken in respect of presidential, National Assembly and local authority elections, what our Constitution calls harmonized elections. The President also fixed the 14th of June 2018 as the date that the nomination court sat to receive nominations for candidates in respect of presidential as the date for the election of 2 senior chiefs for each of the 8 non-metropolitan provinces, and finally he fixed the 2nd of August 2018 as the date for the election of senators to represent people with disabilities. I'd also like to share at this stage that the law now stipulates that the results of the presidential election must be announced within 5 days of the date of polling. That brings the final date for the announcement of results to the 4th of August. Nomination courts to choose candidates to participate in the harmonized elections sat on 14 June 2018. A total of 23 presidential, 1,652 National Assembly constituency candidates were successfully nominated. A total of 55 political parties fielded candidates, and we had a total of 247 independents who will be contesting in the country's 210 National Assembly constituencies. We have established a total of 10,985 polling stations throughout the country, and it is not our intention to establish more polling stations or new or different polling stations, as I have already said. The list of polling stations has been published in the press and will be published again on polling day. These stations were established in terms of Section 51 of the Electoral Act, which provides that the Commission should establish polling stations at places it finds suitable and convenient to voters. The law compels the Commission to establish adequate polling stations in each of the country's 1,958 wards, with each polling station being located at a place that is readily accessible to the public, including persons with disabilities. In terms of procurement, we procured an initial 130 tons of Sentinel paper, which we ordered to be used for the printing of the presidential and National Assembly ballot papers. However, due to the unforeseen large number of candidates for the presidential election and quite a number of constituencies and wards, it was necessary to procure additional paper to cover these contingencies. The state assisted the Commission with additional funding for the purchase of additional ballot paper. This election will also be the first at which the use of marker pens will be resorted to. In past elections, the Commission used dipping ink, which was considered to be not user-friendly and messy by voters. We have therefore procured sufficient quantities for use during the forthcoming elections. We have also procured vehicles to enhance our mobility during our electoral activities. We are already seized and have received part of the delivery of the vehicles, and we are optimistic that our suppliers will meet our deadline. The procurement and printing of election material is work in progress. Just to put it in perspective, we had to print election materials for the presidential election, National Assembly election, for council, and we also have to print the voters' rolls in all those polling stations and constituencies. In terms of recruitment and training of electoral officers, all constituency election officers and their deputies were recruited and their names and addresses published in the Government Gazette in line with the provision of the law. They were trained during the period 2 to 4 July 2018 and have commenced their duties. Wards, elections officers and presiding officers have also been identified and will be trained from 16 to 18 and 20 to 22 July 2018 respectively. The rest of the polling officers will be trained from 24 and 25 July 2018. To facilitate training and referencing, the African Union Technical Assistance Team facilitated the production of a pocket guide, and they have been kind enough to assist us in producing 11,000 copies which we have printed and which will form part of all the presiding officers' polling station kits. The 2018 harmonized elections require a total of about 131,000 personnel. Deployments are being done in stages until 28 July 2018. Constituency elections officers have already been deployed to their constituencies. In terms of training, we conducted train-the-trainer programs which were held for our provincial elections officers, deputy provincial elections officers, district election officers, constituency election officers, and deputy constituency election officers, with the assistance again of the African Union Technical Training Team. The Commission much appreciates this assistance. Training for wards elections officers, deputy wards elections officers, presiding officers, and polling officers is scheduled to be completed by 24 July 2018. For voter education, the recruitment process has been completed, and the first training was of supervisors who trained on the 12th of July 2018. In terms of deployments, polling staff are expected to be set up by 28 July, and polling stations will be manned fully by the presiding officer and polling officers by the 28th of July. In terms of litigation, we have been subjected to a barrage of litigation, but most of which was based on fringe grounds to the electoral process, and most of which has been dismissed by the courts. Apart from appeals against the proceedings of the nomination courts, there are no cases that have been filed which have a direct bearing on the Commission's preparations for elections. In terms of ballot paper design and printing, the Commission has been accused by some stakeholders of coming up with a ballot paper design which favours one of the contesting candidates. The aggrieved stakeholders have also gone to the extent of proposing how we should have designed the ballot, indicating what they would have preferred. The allegations are regrettable, and the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission wishes to advise that they did consider all possible options in coming up with the design of the ballot paper. The proposed one-column design would have resulted in a very long ballot paper of A3 plus in size and required double the amount of paper. And if you've been listening, you know that we were hamstrung in terms of the funding which we received from Treasury. The cost-benefit analysis reveals that this option would have required not only an increase in ballot paper, but also an increase in production time which we did not have. So this option had both financial and logistic implications on our state of preparedness. The two-column design is the design that has been adopted for all ballot papers with candidates in excess of 14 people, regardless of the type of election, and we have used our discretion after weighing available options. The candidates' names will still retain the alphabetical order of surnames, which is provided for in terms of Section 3, subsection 11, subsection B, subsection 1 of the electoral regulations, which appear in our statutory instrument 21/2005. However, stakeholders are reminded that issues to do with the design and printing of the ballot paper remain the exclusive right of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission in terms of Section 239, subsection G of our Constitution. We would like to advise that the printing of the presidential ballot paper is almost complete. More than 50% of the National Assembly and local authority ballot papers have now been printed. The Commission will publish the total number of ballot papers printed and their distribution in accordance with the provisions of the law once the printers complete the process. The Commission recognizes the pivotal role played by information dissemination and voter education in the electoral process. Hence, it has been conducting vigorous voter education and holistic campaigns in collaboration with civil society organizations to ensure that the electorate is well informed and the biometric voter registration radio and television programs, adverts in the electronic and print media. It should be noted also that the use of the USSD code and the online link to the voters' roll enabled registered voters to check their registration status and details from the comfort of their homes, as it were. This speeded up the inspection exercise and remarkably reduced queues at our inspection centres, subsequently aiding the citizens' audit of the voters' roll, which is what our law provides for. A total number of 78 private voluntary organizations and trusts, as well as faith-based organizations, have been accredited to conduct voter education. These have been given the soft copies of voter education materials for reproduction and use. Other voter education strategies being employed are a call center, where the electorate utilizes the services of the call center to seek clarification on election-related matters. We receive an average of 70 calls per day, making inquiries on issues to do with elections. We also utilize roadshows. We've given you a table of all the billboards that we have erected across the provinces so that you get an idea of what we're doing in terms of that sort of voter education. 2,000 Braille copies have been produced for the visually impaired and will be distributed to users through provincial and district structures, as well as organizations for the visually impaired. This is 2,000 Braille copies of voter education material. Production has been completed and distribution is underway. In terms of conflict resolution, the importance of electoral dispute resolution in Zimbabwe cannot be overemphasized, more so that the country is fast approaching the general election to be conducted on 30 July 2018. Zimbabwe has in place a sound legal system to deal with electoral conflict management, supported by the Constitution and the Electoral Act. Incorporated in the Electoral Act is the new Code of Conduct for political parties and candidates. This has been broadened, as I previously said, and the Code of Conduct actually stipulates that all of us should assist in ensuring compliance with the Code. The Code also outlines the multi-party liaison committees, as I have also previously said. The committees have since been established countrywide to deal with political violence, intimidation, and other electoral disputes. The Commission is working closely with all stakeholders in all Chapter 12 independent commissions, such as the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, the National Peace and Reconciliation Commission, and the Zimbabwe Republic Police, to ensure that there is minimal conflict during the election period. Political parties contesting in the forthcoming harmonized elections have also signed a peace pledge in which they publicly committed themselves to the observance of peace during the forthcoming elections. The postal vote. In terms of Section 72 of the Electoral Act, the following persons are eligible for postal voting. Persons on duty on polling day as members of the disciplined forces, electoral officers, persons on duty in the service of the government of Zimbabwe outside Zimbabwe, and their spouses. The Commission has received 7,600 applications for the postal vote from those who are eligible. We would like to advise that the procedure for voting by post is set out in Section 75 of the Electoral Act, and this provision clearly stipulates that voting by such a voter, in terms of Section 75, is done secretly and not in the presence of any person. Allegations that postal voting is being conducted in the manner described on social media or depicted in a picture circulating on social media are regrettable. No postal voting stations have been set up or will be set up by the Commission. Postal voters are free to vote secretly for any candidate of their choice as provided for by the law. So in other words, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, in terms of the law, is not obliged to set up polling stations to administer postal voting. There are no ballot boxes. The procedure actually starts with relevant applications. Those people who wish to utilize the postal vote, we check whether they're eligible, we check whether they're registered voters. We do then send the ballot papers to them, either through their commanding officers or straight to their diplomatic mission. They are relevant envelopes which form part of the package that is sent to a person who wishes to exercise the postal vote. And what they're simply required to do is to exercise their vote and then put the ballot paper in relevant envelopes and post the ballot paper back to the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. So therefore, a postal vote is exactly what it says it is. It is to be exercised through the post. The election of the National Council of Chiefs took place on 11 July 2018, at various venues in the 8 non-metropolitan provinces of the country. The elections were presided over by our provincial elections officers. The election of the President and Deputy President of the National Council of Chiefs, all ballots are conducted at the polling station level in the presence of election agents observers. This again is provided for in terms of our law. All election agents present are then given copies of the count, and results are posted outside each polling station, ward centre and constituency centre after collation. Once elected, the National Council of Chiefs will meet as an electoral college to choose the President and Deputy President of the Council of Chiefs. The election will be presided over by the Director of Human Resources of our Commission on 18 July 2018. All the results will then be physically transmitted from one centre to the next. There will be no electronic transmission of results. Political parties and candidates are free to accompany the electoral officer who physically transmits the results. In terms of transmission of our results, all ballots will be counted at polling station level in the presence of election agents and observers. All election agents and observers will be given copies of the results. The same copies will be posted outside each polling station, ward centre and constituency centre after collation. With regards to the presidential election, once the results have been collated at the constituency collation centre, they will be transmitted physically to the district election officer for direct transmission to the National Collation and Results Centre. This fast route bypasses the provincial elections officer to enable the results to reach the National Collation Centre early so as to meet the 5-day period for the announcement of the presidential results. All results will be physically transmitted from one centre to the next. There will be no electronic transfer of results. Political parties and candidates are free to escort the results sheet if they so wish, escort the electoral officer who will be physically transmitting the results. There will be a National Collation and Results Centre here at the Harare International Centre where the presidential election results will be collated and announced. The Zimbabwe Electoral Commission has invited the police to provide a security briefing to observers, and therefore this will be covered in the brief by the police. I will now hand over to Senior Assistant Commissioner Erasmus Makoda to give the brief on the security situation. But before I do that, in conclusion, I would like to say thank you all for coming to this briefing and wish you all the best in your endeavours. However, let me urge you to conduct your duties responsibly. As you may be aware, our country is on the path to recovery in many aspects and coming out of conflict. We would like to implore you to kindly be temperate in your approach and avoid language or conduct that is inflammatory. We need peace as a nation, and we look forward to have a normal life like all of you, and therefore kindly be honest in all that you do.